Have you ever stood in front of your refrigerator at the end of a long day, staring at all the food inside, and just grabbed the easiest thing you could find? Maybe leftover pizza, maybe some chips, maybe just a spoonful of ice cream straight from the container, and then felt guilty about it later? Yeah, me too. In fact, I did exactly that last night. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily, and welcome to English Club Podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Whether you're listening while you're cooking, commuting, or just relaxing, thank you for choosing to spend this time learning English with me. You know, I have to be honest with you about something. Yesterday was one of those days where all my good intentions about healthy eating just flew out the window. I had planned to cook a nice healthy dinner. I had the ingredients, I had the recipe, I even had the time. But when I got home, I was exhausted. My brain was tired, my body was tired, and the thought of chopping vegetables and cooking seemed overwhelming. So you know what I did? I ordered takeout, again, for the third time this week. And as I was eating my fried chicken and French fries, I thought, why is healthy eating so hard? I know what I should eat. I know that vegetables are good for me and that I should eat more fruits and whole grains. I understand nutrition basics. So why is it so difficult to actually do it? That question, that struggle, is exactly why I wanted to talk about this topic today. Healthy eating habits. Not just what healthy eating is, but why it's challenging and how we can actually make it happen in real life. And of course, how to talk about all of this in English. Today, we're going to explore healthy eating from a practical, realistic perspective. We're going to discuss what healthy eating actually means, what obstacles we face, and most importantly, how to develop habits that actually stick. This is such a relevant topic because what we eat affects everything: our energy, our mood, our health, our longevity. Food is fundamental to life. And being able to talk about food and eating habits in English is incredibly useful. You might need to discuss dietary preferences or restrictions. You might want to share recipes or cooking tips with friends. You might need to order food at a restaurant or shop at a grocery store in an English-speaking country. So today, we're going to make sure you have the vocabulary and confidence to talk about food and healthy eating. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying this podcast, please like and subscribe to our channel for more English learning podcasts. It really helps us create more content for you. And if you find this episode helpful, share it with someone who's also interested in healthy eating. We really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started. Let me begin by talking about vocabulary related to food and eating. When we discuss healthy eating, there are some key words and phrases you need to know. First, let's talk about the word diet. Diet has two meanings in English. It can mean the food and drinks you regularly consume. For example, my diet includes a lot of vegetables. Or it can mean a special eating plan to lose weight or improve health. For example, I'm on a diet to lose weight. The phrase go on a diet means to start restricting your food to lose weight. For example, I'm going on a diet next week. But honestly, I don't love the word diet in this second meaning because it implies temporary. Healthy eating should be a lifestyle, not a temporary restriction. Nutrition is the science of food and how it affects the body. For example, good nutrition is important for health. The adjective is nutritious, which means healthy and full of nutrients. For example, vegetables are very nutritious. Nutrients are the substances in food that your body needs. The main nutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals. For example, this meal is high in protein. Balanced diet means eating a variety of different foods to get all the nutrients you need. For example, a balanced diet includes fruits, vegetables, proteins, and grains. Portion size is how much food you eat at one time. For example, I need to watch my portion sizes. I tend to eat too much. We use the word consume to mean eat or drink. It's a bit more formal. For example, how much water do you consume each day? Junk food means food that's unhealthy, usually high in sugar, salt, or fat, and low in nutrients. For example, I eat too much junk food when I'm stressed. Processed food is food that's been changed from its natural state, usually with added chemicals or preservatives. For example, try to avoid heavily processed foods. Whole foods are foods in their natural state, not processed. For example, fruits and vegetables are whole foods. Organic means grown without synthetic pesticides or chemicals. For example, I try to buy organic vegetables when possible. Let me give you some example sentences using this vocabulary. I'm trying to improve my diet by eating more vegetables. Good nutrition is essential for maintaining energy throughout the day. A balanced diet includes proteins, carbohydrates, and healthy fats. I need to reduce my portion sizes because I tend to overeat. Junk food might taste good, but it's not good for your health. Whole foods are better for you than processed foods. She only eats organic fruits and vegetables. See how these words work together? They help us talk about food and eating in a clear, natural way. Now, let me share some personal stories about my own journey with healthy eating. I think this will help you see how these concepts play out in real life. I grew up in a family where food was love. My mom showed affection by cooking big meals. Family gatherings always centered around food, and the food was delicious, but not always healthy. Lots of fried foods, rich sauces, big portions, and sweet desserts. As a child, I didn't think much about nutrition. I just ate what tasted good. But when I became an adult and started living on my own, I realized I had never really learned how to eat healthily. I knew how to cook the rich, heavy foods my mom made, but I didn't know how to plan balanced meals or choose nutritious options. My first few years living alone, my eating habits were terrible. I would skip breakfast because I was rushing to work. I would eat whatever was convenient for lunch, usually fast food or takeout, and for dinner, I'd often just eat cereal or instant noodles because I was too tired to cook. I felt tired all the time. I had no energy, I started gaining weight, and I knew my eating habits were the problem, but I didn't know how to change them. The turning point came when I went to the doctor for a checkup. My doctor told me my cholesterol was high, my blood pressure was borderline high, and if I didn't make changes, I was heading towards serious health problems. That scared me. I was in my 20s. I was too young for these health issues. So I decided to get serious about healthy eating. But let me tell you, it was not easy. My first mistake was trying to change everything at once. I went from eating junk food every day to trying to eat perfectly healthy overnight. I cut out all the foods I enjoyed. I forced myself to eat salads for every meal. I was hungry and miserable all the time. Unsurprisingly, this didn't last. After about 2 weeks, I gave up and went back to my old eating habits. I felt like a failure. I thought, I can't do this. Healthy eating is too hard. Can you relate to this experience? Have you ever tried to change your eating habits and struggled? Let me tell you what I learned from that failed attempt and how I eventually found a better approach. The key insight was this: sustainable healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's about making better choices most of the time. It's not about eliminating all the foods you love. It's about balance and moderation. Instead of trying to overhaul my entire diet overnight, I started making small changes, just one at a time. My first change was adding breakfast. I started eating something, anything in the morning, even if it was just a banana or a piece of toast, just establishing the habit of eating breakfast. Once that became routine, I made another small change. I started bringing lunch from home instead of buying fast food every day. I didn't make fancy, healthy lunches, just simple things like a sandwich and some fruit, but it was better than fast food. These small changes didn't feel overwhelming, and slowly I started noticing differences. I had more energy, I felt better, and that motivated me to make more changes. This gradual approach worked so much better for me than trying to be perfect all at once, and it's an approach I still use today. I'm not perfect with my eating. I still have days like yesterday where I eat takeout and junk food, but most days I make reasonably healthy choices, and that's good enough. What approach have you tried with healthy eating? What's worked for you and what hasn't? Now, let me teach you some phrases for talking about eating habits and food choices. These expressions will help you discuss food naturally in English. When talking about your eating habits, you can say, I try to eat healthy most of the time. I'm working on eating more vegetables. I have a sweet tooth, so I struggle with cutting out sugar. I'm trying to be more mindful about what I eat. I tend to eat too much when I'm stressed. A sweet tooth means you love sweet foods. If someone has a sweet tooth, they crave candy, chocolate, desserts, things like that. When discussing food preferences, you might say, I prefer home-cooked meals to restaurant food. I'm not a big fan of spicy food. I love fresh fruits and vegetables. I'm trying to cut down on meat consumption. I enjoy trying new foods from different cultures. Meal prep means preparing multiple meals at once. Cooking from scratch means making food from basic ingredients, not using pre-made or processed foods. Batch cooking means making large quantities at once. When discussing challenges with healthy eating, you might say,
I find it hard to eat healthy when I'm busy. Junk food is so convenient when I'm tired. Healthy food can be expensive. I don't always have time to cook. It's challenging to resist temptation when everyone around me is eating unhealthy food. Let me give you some complete examples of how these phrases work in conversation. I'm trying to eat healthier, but it's challenging. I have a sweet tooth, so cutting down on sugar is really hard for me. I'm taking it slow, just trying to reduce my sugar intake gradually rather than eliminating it completely. I started meal prepping on Sundays, and it's made such a difference. I cook several healthy meals at once and portion them out for the week. It means on busy weekdays, I have healthy food ready to go instead of ordering takeout. I'm not a big fan of salads, which makes eating vegetables challenging, but I'm learning to cook vegetables in different ways that I actually enjoy. Roasted vegetables, stir-fried vegetables, vegetable soups. Finding preparation methods I like has helped. See how these phrases create natural conversations about food and eating? Now, let me talk about what healthy eating actually means. There's so much conflicting information out there. One diet says carbs are bad, another says fat is bad. One expert says eat lots of protein, another says go plant-based. It's confusing. Here's what I've learned. Healthy eating isn't about following strict rules or the latest diet trend. It's about some basic principles that most nutrition experts agree on. First, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Aim for a variety of colors because different colors provide different nutrients. Vegetables should make up a large portion of your meals. Second, choose whole grains over refined grains. Whole grains include brown rice, whole wheat bread, oatmeal, quinoa. They have more fiber and nutrients than refined grains like white rice and white bread. Third, include good sources of protein. This could be lean meat, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, tofu, nuts. Protein is important for building and repairing body tissues. Fourth, include healthy fats. Not all fat is bad. Your body needs fats from sources like olive oil, avocados, nuts, and fish. These fats are good for your heart and brain. Fifth, limit added sugars and salt. A little sugar and salt is okay, but most of us consume too much from processed foods and drinks. Sixth, drink plenty of water. Your body needs water for everything it does. Aim for about 8 glasses a day, though individual needs vary. Seventh, watch your portion sizes. Even healthy food can lead to weight gain if you eat too much of it. And finally, eat mindfully. Pay attention to what you're eating. Enjoy your food. Don't just eat while distracted by TV or phone. These principles aren't complicated or extreme. They're just common sense. But knowing them and actually implementing them are very different things. What do you find most challenging about these principles? Let me talk about some common obstacles to healthy eating and strategies to overcome them. Obstacle 1, lack of time. This is probably the most common excuse. People say, I don't have time to cook healthy meals. I understand this. We're all busy. But here's the thing. You can make time for what's important to you, and your health should be important. Strategy, meal prep. Spend a few hours on the weekend preparing meals for the week. Cook big batches of healthy food and portion them out. Yes, it takes time on the weekend, but it saves so much time during the week. Another strategy, keep it simple. Healthy meals don't have to be complicated. A piece of grilled chicken, some steamed broccoli, and brown rice. That's healthy and takes maybe 20 minutes to prepare. I used to think healthy cooking required complex recipes and exotic ingredients, but it doesn't. Simple is often better. Obstacle 2, cost. Healthy food can be more expensive than junk food. A bag of chips costs less than a bag of apples. Fast food can be cheaper than buying fresh ingredients. Strategy, buy in season. Fruits and vegetables are cheaper when they're in season. Also, frozen vegetables are just as nutritious as fresh, and often cheaper. Don't overlook canned beans and lentils, which are inexpensive sources of protein and fiber. Another strategy? Plan your meals and make a shopping list. This reduces impulse buying and food waste. When you know what you're going to cook, you only buy what you need. I also buy store brands instead of name brands.
Usually the quality is the same, but the price is lower. Obstacle 3. Taste. Many people think healthy food is boring or doesn't taste good, and I'll admit, a plain salad isn't as exciting as pizza. Strategy. Learn to cook and season food well. Healthy food can be delicious if you know how to prepare it. Use herbs and spices. Try different cooking methods. Experiment with flavors. I used to think I hated vegetables. Turns out, I just hated plain steamed vegetables. Once I learned to roast vegetables with olive oil and garlic, or stir-fry them with ginger and soy sauce, I actually started enjoying them. Obstacle 4. Social situations. It's hard to eat healthy when you're at parties, restaurants, or social gatherings where unhealthy food is everywhere. Strategy. It's okay to enjoy treats sometimes. Healthy eating is about what you do most of the time, not what you do occasionally. If you eat healthy most days, having cake at a birthday party won't ruin everything. Another strategy? Before going to a party, eat something healthy at home so you're not starving. This makes it easier to resist overeating at the event. I also don't stress about being perfect in social situations. I enjoy the food and the company, and then get back to my normal healthy eating the next day. Obstacle 5. Emotional eating. Using food for comfort when you're stressed, sad, bored, or anxious. This is a big one for many people, including me. Strategy. Identify your triggers. When do you tend to emotionally eat? For me, it's when I'm stressed or tired. Once you know your triggers, you can plan alternative coping strategies. Instead of reaching for ice cream when I'm stressed, I try to go for a walk, call a friend, or do some deep breathing. These strategies address the actual problem, stress, rather than just masking it with food. This is still something I struggle with, but awareness is the first step. What obstacles do you face with healthy eating? What strategies help you? Now let me talk about the difference between short-term diets and long-term lifestyle changes. This is so important to understand. Many people approach healthy eating as a temporary diet. They think, I'll eat healthy for a month to lose weight, and then I'll go back to normal. But this approach doesn't work for lasting change. When you go on a strict diet, you might lose weight initially, but as soon as you stop the diet and return to your old eating habits, the weight comes back. This is called yo-yo dieting, and it's frustrating and unhealthy. The alternative is to think of healthy eating as a permanent lifestyle change, not something you do temporarily, but a new way of living. This requires a different mindset. Instead of asking, how can I lose 10 kilograms in 1 month? Ask, how can I develop eating habits that I can maintain for the rest of my life? This shift in thinking changes everything. It means you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to eliminate all treats. You just need to make better choices most of the time. It means you focus on building sustainable habits rather than following strict rules. It means you're patient with yourself and with the process. Lasting change takes time. I've tried both approaches. I've done short-term restrictive diets, and I've worked on long-term lifestyle changes. The lifestyle approach is harder in some ways because it requires patience and consistency, but it's also easier because you're not constantly depriving yourself. And most importantly, it actually works long-term. Have you thought about the difference between dieting and lifestyle change? Which approach appeals to you more? Let me share some practical tips for developing healthy eating habits that actually stick. Tip 1. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one small, achievable change and focus on that until it becomes a habit. Then add another change. For example, maybe your first change is drinking a glass of water first thing every morning. That's it. Just that one small habit. Once that's automatic, add another change, like eating a piece of fruit with breakfast. Small changes are sustainable. Big, dramatic changes usually aren't. Tip 2. Focus on adding, not just subtracting. Instead of thinking about all the foods you need to eliminate, think about healthy foods you can add. Instead of, I need to stop eating junk food, think, I'm going to start eating more vegetables. When you fill up on nutritious food, you naturally have less room and desire for unhealthy food. This positive framing makes the whole process feel less restrictive and more enjoyable. Tip 3. Prepare your environment for success. If your kitchen is full of junk food, you'll eat junk food. If your kitchen is stocked with healthy options, you'll eat healthier. I don't keep ice cream or chips in my house because I know if they're there, I'll eat them. But I always have fruits, vegetables, nuts, and other healthy snacks available. Make the healthy choice the easy choice. Tip 4. Plan ahead. Don't wait until you're starving to figure out what to eat. By that point, you'll just grab whatever is fastest, which is usually not the healthiest option. Plan your meals for the week. Do grocery shopping once a week.
Prep ingredients in advance. Having a plan removes the stress and uncertainty of figuring out what to eat every day. Tip 5. Learn to cook. You don't need to become a gourmet chef, but basic cooking skills are essential for healthy eating. When you can cook, you have control over ingredients and portion sizes. I learned to cook through YouTube videos and simple cookbooks. It's not as hard as it seems. Start with simple recipes and build from there. Tip 6. Practice portion control. Use smaller plates, which makes portions look bigger. Pay attention to hunger and fullness cues. Stop eating when you're satisfied, not when you're stuffed. I used to eat
until my plate was empty, regardless of whether I was still hungry. Now I try to listen to my body and stop when I'm full. Tip 7. Allow treats in moderation. Healthy eating doesn't mean never eating dessert or pizza or whatever you enjoy. It means enjoying these things occasionally, not daily. I have a treat a few times a week, and I don't feel guilty about it. Depriving yourself completely usually backfires. You end up binging later. Tip 8. Stay hydrated. Sometimes what feels like hunger is actually thirst. Drink water throughout the day. Keep a water bottle with you. I aim to drink water before meals, which helps with portion control because I'm slightly less hungry. Tip 9. Be patient and kind to yourself. You will have setbacks. You will eat unhealthy food sometimes. That's okay. One bad meal doesn't ruin everything. Just get back on track with the next meal. I used to have an all-or-nothing mentality. If I ate something unhealthy, I'd think, well, I've already ruined today. Might as well eat whatever I want for the rest of the day. That's not helpful. Now I just move on and make a healthier choice next time. Which of these tips resonates with you? Which one might you try? Now let me talk about mindful eating. This is a concept that really changed my relationship with food. Mindful eating means paying full attention to the experience of eating. It means eating slowly, savoring each bite, noticing flavors and textures, and being present with your food. Most of us eat mindlessly. We eat while watching TV, scrolling through our phones, working at our computers, driving in our cars. We're not really paying attention to what we're eating. We just shovel food in our mouths without tasting it or thinking about it. When you eat mindlessly, you tend to eat more because you're not noticing fullness cues. You also get less enjoyment from food because you're not really tasting it. Mindful eating is the opposite. It means sitting down to eat without distractions, putting your phone away, turning off the TV, just focusing on the food. It means eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, noticing the flavors, pausing between bites, checking in with yourself. Am I still hungry? Am I satisfied? When I started practicing mindful eating, I was surprised by how much less I needed to eat to feel satisfied. When I actually paid attention and ate slowly, I noticed fullness much sooner. I was also surprised by how much more I enjoyed my food. When I slow down and really taste what I'm eating, it's so much more satisfying. Mindful eating also helps you identify true hunger versus emotional hunger. True hunger builds gradually and can be satisfied with any food. Emotional hunger comes on suddenly and craves specific comfort foods. I'm still working on this. It's hard to eat mindfully when you're busy and rushed, but even doing it sometimes makes a difference. Have you tried mindful eating? What was your experience? Let me talk about the role of planning and preparation in healthy eating. I've mentioned this before, but it's worth going deeper because it's so important. One of the biggest reasons people eat unhealthy food is lack of planning. You get home from work, hungry and tired. You open the fridge and there's nothing prepared. You'd have to cook, which takes time and energy. So instead, you order takeout or heat up something processed. But if you had a healthy meal already prepared, you'd eat that instead. The barrier isn't really the health. You don't want healthy food. It's that healthy food isn't convenient. So the solution is making healthy food convenient through planning and preparation. Here's what meal prep might look like. On Sunday, you spend a few hours cooking. Maybe you roast a big batch of vegetables, cook some brown rice or quinoa, grill some chicken breast, make a big pot of soup for chili. Then you portion everything out into containers for the week. Now, on Monday through Friday, when you come home tired, you have healthy meals ready. You just reheat and eat. It's just as convenient as takeout, but healthier and cheaper. You can also prep ingredients rather than full meals. Wash and chop vegetables, cook grains, marinate meat. Then during the week, you can quickly assemble meals from these prepped components. Another strategy is having healthy snacks readily available. Pre-portion nuts, cut up fruits and vegetables, have hard-boiled eggs ready. When you get hungry between meals, you have healthy options within easy reach. The key insight is this: most people will take the path of least resistance. If the easy option is unhealthy, that's what they'll choose. But if you make the healthy option the easy option, that's what you'll choose. I've made meal prep a non-negotiable part of my Sunday routine. It's an investment of time on the weekend, but it pays off huge during the week.
It's the single most impactful change I've made for my eating habits. Do you do any meal planning or prep? What works for you? Now, let me discuss eating out at restaurants and social situations. This is challenging because you have less control over ingredients and preparation methods. Here are some strategies for eating healthy at restaurants. First, check the menu online before you go. Plan what you'll order ahead of time. This prevents you from making impulsive choices when you're hungry. Second, look for grilled, baked, or steamed options rather than fried. Ask how food is prepared if you're unsure. Third, watch portion sizes. Restaurant portions are often huge. You can ask for a half portion, share a meal with someone, or immediately box up half to take home. Fourth, load up on vegetables. Order a side salad or vegetables instead of fries. Choose vegetable-based dishes when possible. Fifth, be mindful of hidden calories in sauces, dressings, and drinks. Ask for dressings on the side so you can control how much you use. Sixth, don't arrive at the restaurant starving. If you're too hungry, you'll overorder and overeat. Have a small, healthy snack before you go. Seventh, drink water instead of sugary drinks or alcohol, or limit yourself to one drink. And eighth, remember it's okay to enjoy yourself occasionally. If you eat healthy most of the time, an occasional restaurant splurge won't hurt. I used to feel like I had to order the healthiest thing on the menu, which usually wasn't what I actually wanted. Now I find a balance. I make reasonably healthy choices most of the time, but if I really want something indulgent occasionally, I allow myself to enjoy it without guilt. How do you handle eating out? What strategies work for you? Let me talk about sugar specifically because it's such a big issue in modern diets. Most people consume way too much sugar, often without realizing it. Added sugars are in so many processed foods, not just obvious sweets like candy and cookies, but also bread, yogurt, salad dressings, sauces, and drinks. These hidden sugars add up.
Consuming too much sugar is linked to weight gain, diabetes, heart disease, and other health problems. The World Health Organization recommends limiting added sugars to less than 10% of your daily calorie intake. So how do you reduce sugar? Here are some strategies. First, read food labels. Look at the sugar content. You might be surprised how much sugar is in seemingly healthy foods. Second, be especially careful with drinks. Sodas, juices, energy drinks, sweetened coffee drinks, these are huge sources of sugar. Switch to water, unsweetened tea, or coffee. Third, choose whole fruits instead of fruit juice. Whole fruits have fiber, which slows sugar absorption. Juice is basically sugar water without the beneficial fiber. Fourth, reduce sugary snacks. Instead of cookies or candy, snack on fruits, nuts, or vegetables. Fifth, if you add sugar to coffee or tea, gradually reduce the amount. Your taste buds will adjust. Sixth, be aware that sugar has many names on ingredient lists. High fructose corn syrup, cane juice, dextrose, maltose, these are all sugar. I had a major sugar habit. I added sugar to my coffee, drank soda regularly, and snacked on candy frequently. Cutting back was hard at first. I had cravings. But after a few weeks, my taste buds adjusted. Now, things that I used to enjoy taste too sweet to me. Reducing sugar intake is one of the most impactful changes you can make for your health. How much sugar do you consume? Have you tried reducing it? Now let me talk about the connection between eating and emotions. For many people, food is tied to feelings and emotions, not just physical hunger. We eat when we're happy to celebrate. We eat when we're sad for comfort. We eat when we're stressed to soothe ourselves. We eat when we're bored for entertainment. Food becomes a way to deal with emotions. This is called emotional eating, and it can sabotage healthy eating efforts. Because when you're eating for emotional reasons rather than hunger, you're not thinking about nutrition or portion control. You're just trying to feel better. I'm definitely an emotional eater. When I'm stressed, I crave comfort food, usually something sweet or carb-heavy. When I'm sad, I want ice cream. When I'm anxious, I mindlessly snack. The problem is that emotional eating doesn't actually solve the emotional problem. It might distract you temporarily, but the stress or sadness is still there after you eat. And now you might also feel guilty about overeating. So what's the solution? The key is developing other ways to cope with emotions besides eating. When you feel the urge to emotionally eat, pause. Ask yourself, am I actually hungry or am I feeling something else? Identifying the real emotion is the first step. Then find a non-food way to address that emotion. If you're stressed, maybe go for a walk or do some deep breathing. If you're sad, call a friend or watch something funny. If you're bored, do an activity you enjoy. This is hard.
Eating is such an easy, quick way to feel better temporarily. Finding other coping strategies requires more effort, but it's worth it. I keep a list of activities I can do instead of emotional eating. Things like taking a bath, reading, calling my sister, doing some stretching. When I feel the urge to eat for emotional reasons, I try one of these alternatives first. It doesn't always work. Sometimes I still emotionally eat, but I'm getting better at recognizing it and finding other ways
To cope. Do you eat emotionally? What emotions trigger eating for you? Let me share some thoughts about perfectionism and healthy eating. Perfectionism is when you think anything less than perfect is failure, and perfectionism can really derail healthy eating. A perfectionistic approach to eating might look like this. I will eat perfectly healthy every single day. I will never eat sugar. I will never eat processed food. I will always eat exactly the right portions. The problem is that this standard is impossible to maintain. Eventually, you'll eat something that doesn't fit your perfect plan. And when you do, you feel like a failure. You think, I've ruined everything, so I might as well give up. This all or nothing thinking is destructive. It makes you feel bad about yourself, and it often leads to giving up entirely. A healthier approach is progress, not perfection. The goal isn't to eat perfectly. The goal is to eat better than you used to make healthy choices most of the time while being flexible and forgiving when you don't. Eating a cookie doesn't mean you failed, it just means you ate a cookie. You can make a healthy choice with your next meal. I used to be very perfectionistic about eating. If I ate something unhealthy, I would feel like I had ruined the whole day, so I might as well eat badly for the rest of the day. This led to cycles of very restricted eating, followed by binge eating. Learning to let go of perfectionism has been huge for me. Now I aim for good enough most of the time. I don't stress about being perfect. And paradoxically, this more relaxed approach has actually led to more consistent healthy eating than my perfectionistic approach ever did. Are you perfectionistic about eating? How does it affect you? As we start to wrap up, let me share some final thoughts about healthy eating. First, remember that healthy eating is personal. What works for someone else might not work for you. You need to find an approach that fits your lifestyle, preferences, and needs. Second, focus on the positive reasons to eat healthy, not just weight loss. Yes, healthy eating can help with weight management, but more importantly, it gives you energy, improves your mood, prevents disease, and helps you feel your best. These benefits matter regardless of your weight. Third, be patient. Changing eating habits takes time. You're undoing years or decades of patterns. That doesn't happen overnight. Be kind to yourself in the process. Fourth, remember that food is more than just fuel. Food is also pleasure, culture, connection, tradition. Healthy eating should enhance your life, not make it miserable. Find ways to eat healthily while still enjoying food and social experiences. Fifth, there will be setbacks. You will have days or weeks where you eat poorly. That's normal and okay. The key is getting back on track, not being perfect. And finally, small changes add up. You don't have to transform your entire diet immediately. Just start making slightly better choices, one at a time. Over time, these small changes create significant results. I'm still on this journey myself. I eat healthier than I did 5 years ago, but I'm not perfect. I still struggle sometimes. I still make unhealthy choices sometimes. But overall, my eating habits are so much better, and I feel so much better as a result. The journey to healthy eating is ongoing. It's not a destination you reach and then you're done. It's a continuous practice of making choices that support your health and well-being. I hope today's conversation has given you some insights into healthy eating and some practical strategies to improve your own eating habits. More than that, I hope it's shown you that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep trying, keep making better choices, and be patient with yourself. I'd love to hear from you. What are your eating habits like? What challenges do you face with healthy eating? What strategies have worked for you? Leave a comment below and practice talking about food and eating in English. I read all the comments, and I'd love to hear your experiences. And please like and subscribe to English Club for more English learning podcasts. Thank you so much for listening today. Your support means everything to me. Keep practicing your English. Keep working on your healthy eating habits. And remember, progress is more important than perfection. You're doing great. Thank you again for being here with me today. Take care of yourself, nourish your body well, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.